Okay, good morning everyone, and I believe it's probably the last class before Rosh Hashanah. Be busy already and busier next week. And I wanted to take advantage in our last class before the new year that we should get a little bit of a chizuk and insight into what exactly we are doing on Rosh Hashanah. What we are asking for, what we're trying to accomplish, the course that we are setting for ourselves for the up and coming year, so that we can convince HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Rosh Hashanah, not just to pull the wool over his eyes, but to actually show him sincerely that we are worthy and we are ready for another year of life, that we're going to use it in the best possible way, even better than we used the year that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us in 5785, which is rapidly coming to an end. So since this is a Tehillim class, I want to use the famous Tehillim of Chav Zayin, which is 27, the Dovid, the one that we say every single day, Shachris and Mariv. The Sfardim say it's Shachris and Mincha. And the reason that our sages have placed this in our davening is because the messages that are inside are very relevant not only for the month of Elul, but the whole outlook and the projection that a person has for the up and coming year. We're going to start to ask on Rosh Hashanah next Monday night, believe it or not, 1 week away. We're going to ask Shachris, Mincha, Musaf, Mariv. We're going to ask over and over and over again, and we're going to keep it up throughout the Yisrael Semei HaTshuva, and it will culminate on Yom Kippur. Zachreinu l'chaim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you should remember us for life. Eventually we're going to say Chasmeinu l'chaim, sign us in the book of life, but it's all about life. It's all about chaim. We want to make sure that we are going to be in the world for another year of life coming up. Now, as we pointed out previously, you can only be worthy of getting another year of life if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is convinced that you understand what life is all about. If a person is asking for another year so I could live, but we don't really know what it means to live, we don't know what that life is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants for us, so then why should HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us that year? To waste our time, to fritter away our energies and the like. Now the Rebbe Shalom wants us to appreciate the value of life, of good life, of meaningful life, of what it's all about. And in Tehillim, Chav Zayin, number 27, in the 4th verse of the Tehillim, Dovid HaMelech says the very famous words, there's one thing that I asked of Hashem, that thing I will continue to ask for. So Dovid HaMelech was asking for this already. He decided that this is the only thing that is worthwhile asking for, and therefore whatever he continues to ask, it's going to be for this particular thing. Now what is that? Shifti beveis Hashem, I want to sit and dwell in the house of Hashem kol yemei chayai, all the days of my life. Lachazois benoyam Hashem, I would like to behold the glory of Hashem. Ulevaker behecholoi, and I would like to visit, and I would like to seek deep understanding in his hecholoi, in his temple, in his sanctuary. Dovid HaMelech, Melech Yisrael, the king of the Jewish people, he came from very, very humble beginnings. He was the least likely son of Yishai to be the one that would be chosen to be the king of Klal Yisrael, from which eventually Mashiach is going to come. And yet he was chosen. Out of the fields as a shepherd boy tending to his father's flocks, he is the one that was chosen to become the leader of all of Klal Yisrael. Says the Chavetz Chaim, Dovid HaMelech was a simple young man. He was a shepherd, he was herding the sheep, he was out in the fields, he didn't have any airs about him, he had no power, his brothers looked down on him, they put him down. His father never thought that his son's going to become a leader of Klal Yisrael. He was a very simple, tame, pure person. And while he was out there in the fields and he was communing with the Ribbono Shel Olam, which is what a shepherd has the opportunity to be able to accomplish, they're away from the hustle and the bustle, they're away from all the people, they're away from the noise, from the sounds, from the sights. They're just out there in the fields, just communing with Hashem. And Dovid HaMelech knew that the greatest thing in the world is to be close to the Ribbono Shel Olam. That's all that he wanted. That's all that he cared about. That's all that mattered to him. And then he gets chosen as the king. And then he has a lot of power. Then he has a palace. Then he has money. Then he has might. Then he has armies. Then he has people he has to take care of. He's a busy, busy king. And Dovid HaMelech says, not only did none of this fame and this fortune go to my head, not only am I not mesmerized by all of the golden goblets and the silver and the copper and the gems and the rubies, not only does I don't care about all the power with the armies that are waiting for my beck and word and the people that are waiting on my hand and foot. None of that matters to me, says Dovid HaMelech. There's one thing that I used to ask from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when I was asking for that, I was in a much different place in my life. So you might think, well, what else do I have? I only have sheep. I only have the fields. My brothers hate me. My father doesn't believe in me. So what else could I ask for? I asked to be close to Hashem. But with all of that which I've accomplished now as the king of Klal Yisrael, so I will continue to ask for the same exact thing, because I realize that this, in fact, is what life is all about. Shifti beveis Hashem kol yimei chayai. I want to dwell in the house of Hashem all the days of my life. Says the Chavetz Chaim, Dovid HaMelech understood that there is nothing greater, there is nothing better, and there's nothing more meaningful than a person who lives their life when they are dwelling in the presence of the Ribbono Shel Olam. So if we are going to ask for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give us and grant us another year of life, we're going to ask Him and show Him we're worthy, Hashem. It's worth your time and your effort to invest in me for the up and coming year. Then we have to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu that what is life and what it's all about is something that matters deeply to us. And when Hashem sees that, then it's almost like He can't say no. Of course, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give us, we go in with faith and trust in Hashem, He's going to give us another year of life. Rav Hirsch writes the following idea. Shifti beveis Hashem, in the simple way to understand the words, means I would like to sit in the house of Hashem, whether it's the shul, whether it's the Beis Midrash. I want to sit in the house of God all the days of my life. I'm not interested in being in the palace. I'm not interested in being out there in the fields. I'm not interested in meeting with world leaders and making major decisions. I'm not interested in that, says Dovid HaMelech. All that I really want is, I want to dwell in the house of Hashem. I want to take a Gemara, sit down in the Beis Midrash, and I want to learn. I want to take a siddur and a Sefer Tehillim, and I want to sit in shul, and I want to daven. I have a question in halacha, I want to open up the Shulchan Aruch and sit down and pore over the pages as long as I possibly can, so I should be able to arrive at the ultimate truth of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. Ask Rav Hirsch, did Dovid HaMelech understand who he was? Dovid HaMelech is the king of Klal Yisrael. He's got a lot of responsibilities. He has a lot of places to go, people to see. He's got wars and battles to run. He has armies to make sure that they're conditioned and ready to go. He has gold and he has silver. He has palaces. He has everything at his disposal. Dovid HaMelech doesn't have the time to sit in the house of Hashem all the days of his life. He was put in a position where he was chosen to be the king. He wasn't running away from that position. Dovid HaMelech, as we saw many times in Tehillim, it was not an easy existence and a life that Dovid HaMelech led. He was on the run. He was being chased by his son. He's being chased by enemies. He's dying in the fields. He's in a cave all by himself, running high fevers and sickness. He's got people that are against him. The world is against him. Dovid HaMelech had how can he say, I want to sit in the house of Hashem all the days? Maybe in your dreams, Dovid HaMelech, that's where you would like to be. Maybe in the best case scenario, you know what? Get me off the throne. Get me out of the fields. Get me out of the battlefield. Get me back into the basement. That's where I want to be. So it's like I remember when I moved to Los Angeles many years ago, And I realized at the moment that I landed in this town that I did not appreciate fully what it meant to be learning in Koilo all the days of my life. I had the schus to be in yeshiva for many, many years straight. Koilo, we had about 7 years, and we ended off in Yeshiva Lane at the end. And when we landed in Los Angeles and I saw where I came to, I said, Gewalt, if only I would have appreciated what it was all those years. Hashem, please, just let me dwell in the house of Hashem all the days of my life. But then you get busy. You have things you have to do. You have people you have to take care of. You have communities to run. You're a busy person. You cannot sit in the beis midrash all day long. So is Dovid HaMelech telling us, best case scenario, Hashem, I wish it would be like it was before when I was a simple shepherd, when I could go to the beis midrash. I didn't have all these responsibilities. And you know what? That's the best thing for me to have. Says Rav Hirsch, what is he asking for? You're a king. You have responsibilities. You have people that are dependent upon you. You have battles that have to be, you have so much going on. How is Dovid HaMelech saying, you know what, I used to ask to be in the house of Hashem, and now I hope, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you let me dwell in the house of Hashem once again. He says that's not the question. That's not what Dovid HaMelech is asking. He says a very beautiful insight into the world of Dovid HaMelech. And this is something that perhaps if we'll carry with us the next week into Rosh Hashanah, into Sesame Tshuva, into Yom Kippur, and follow through with it in the up and coming year, our year will be different. Our Rosh Hashanah will be different. Our Yom Kippur will be different. The whole year that we're going to lead and live in 5786 is going to be a different year altogether, Be'ez Hashem. And he says like this. Rav Hirsch points out the following. Dovid HaMelech understood. He's a king. Dovid HaMelech understood he has responsibilities. Dovid HaMelech understood that he's not going to have the luxury of sitting in the beis midrash in the house of Hashem kol yemei chayav, all the days of his life. He knew that. He wasn't a fool. He's the great Dovid HaMelech. He understands exactly what his mission in this world is, and it means being a leader, taking care of the people, fighting the battles, trying to build the Beis HaMikdash, and eventually hoping to bring Mashiach Tzidkenu. He knew that. And he knew that he's got to be out on the streets, and he has to be in the palace, and he has to be able to see people. He knows all that. So what's he asking for? He's asking for the following idea. And that is that even when I'm out in my palace and I'm meeting with dignitaries, and even when I am in the fields and I'm out there on the battles and I'm fighting the wars, and even when I'm running around, I'm running away from my enemies and trying to hide from my dear life, and even when I'm counting all of the gold and the silver that belongs to the Mishkan, to the tabernacle, to Klal Yisrael, I'm going to use it for the right things. Even then, when I'm not sitting in the beis midrash, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm begging you one thing. I used to ask for it all the time. I will continue to ask for it. Wherever I am in my life, it should be considered that I am sitting in the Beis Hashem. I'm sitting in the house of Hashem. The house of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not only inside of the yeshiva, inside the Beis Midrash, inside the Beis HaKnesses, inside the shul where you daven. The entire world belongs to the Ribbono Shel Olam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Malei Kol Ha'aretz B'Chvod. He fills up the entire land with His glory and His greatness and His Shekhinah. And since that is true, Ribbono Shel Olam, I ask of you one thing. And if I could live like this, I will be successful in everything I do. I want to do everything as if I'm standing right in front of you, and I am living in your house, and I am lachsois b'noyim Hashem, I am ulevaker be'echoloi, I'm in the sanctuary of the Ribbono Shel Olam. I'm in my palace, and we have a big meeting trying to figure out what are we going to do with Klal Yisrael. I'm doing everything for you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I need your siyata d'shemaya, and I need your influence, and I need your presence in my life. I'm going out into the battlefield, and I'm on my horse, and I've got the sword in my hand, or I'm going to fight Goliath over there with my little slingshot, and he's worrying all about his gigantic weapons and how big he was, but I just want you, B'Shem Hashem, I want you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when I'm out amongst the people of the nation, trying to understand what does this Jew need, what does that one need, what does this congregate, what do they need? Says Dovid HaMelech, says Dovid HaMelech, I want to make sure that I'm walking together with you wherever I go in this world. And if in fact I could be a person that is shifty beveis Hashem kol yemei chayai, I'm always dwelling in the house of Hashem every single day of my life, so that whether I'm in the Beis Midrash or I'm outside the Beis Midrash, whether I am learning or whether I am leading the nation, whether I am davening or whether I'm talking to world leaders, as long as I'm with you, then I am safe, I am sound, I'm protected, I am cared for, and I will be matzliach, I will succeed. But if I end up living my life, says Dovid HaMelech, on my own, and I take matters into my own hands, and I abandon myself from you, Ribbono Shel Olam, I'm not in your life, in your world, in your house, as much as I should be, so then I can't guarantee the wins, the victories of battle. I can't guarantee that I'm going to be the greatest melech, the king to the people. And I'm certainly unsure whether or not I will know how to run the country in the proper way and live my life in the proper way. And therefore, says Dovid HaMelech, please Hashem, make it for me. As Rabbi Hirsch writes over here the following, this is my goal, to attain Hashem's nearness in every moment and every aspect of my life. Ever to keep before my eyes the splendid way in which all earthly affairs are shaped under His guidance, and to seek to increase my understanding of the truths of life by drawing from the wellspring of wisdom set down in the sanctuary of Hashem's law. Says Dovid HaMelech, I'm only concerned with one thing, and that is that I'm living with you everywhere that I go. And even when they will pile up against me, my enemies, and it will pile up against me the pressure and the stress, writes Rav Hirsch that this spiritual and moral goal that I have to be shifty to sit in the house of Hashem, it remains unchanged. And it's an inner joy of life which no man in this world can destroy or disturb. You know, one of the things that we say in Unasan HaToikef, in that very haunting tefillah that comes in Musaf, one of the things is that who will live a life of peace this coming year? Whose mind will be settled and relaxed? And who's going to be tired? Who's going to be all over the place? Who's going to be anxious? Who's going to be nervous? Says Dovid HaMelech, being close to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it brings me inner joy. Nobody in the world can take that away from me. And this inner and moral spiritual striving is the source of the fearless faith expressed in these verses. Meaning, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I would love to live a wonderful year ahead. I would like to be someone that is going to find favor in your eyes. I know for myself, when I am secure with you, when I am in your house, no matter whether I'm on the streets, I'm in my car, I'm in my house, I'm in my office, I'm in the classroom, I'm in shul, wherever. You can have people that are in shul and they're supposed to be here to daven and get close to Hashem, but their head is somewhere out on the streets. You can have someone that comes to a class to learn Torah, and maybe the rabbi or the Rabbi is teaching the greatest insights and the most inspiring ideas. But last night, late at night, they were busy on Netflix, and there was something that stuck in their head. And while they're sitting in the shir listening to Torah, their mind is reviewing and chazering over, reviewing all that they watched the night before. So physically they're here, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, they're not. And then you could have a person who's out in the world. He's in his office, and he's making deals, and he's making money, but he's living with the Ribbono Shel Olam. So in that office on the 30th floor overlooking the city of Los Angeles, he's in the Beis Hashem, he's in the house of Hashem. You could be in your house and you are taking care of your grandchildren, or you begin cooking for Yom Tiv, you're making challahs, you're making roast, you're making the honey cake, whatever it is that you're getting ready. And you're tired, and you're weary, and you had a long day, and there's so much still you have to cook. But you say, you know what, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm doing this for you, for the beautiful new year that is coming, to be able to feed my family so graciously, to give us tasty treats, and we should have energy to come back to shul and be able to daven. It's all for you, Hashem. So you're standing in your kitchen at 1 o'clock in the morning, you're taking out the last batch of honey cake, you're exhausted, your clothes are shmata, covered with flour and eggs and oil and everything. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, and yet you're dwelling in the house of Hashem. Because since that your kavanah, your intention is for me, says the Ribbono Shel Olam, since that what you're doing is because you want to glorify HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name in this world, and since that you are living together with me even there at that hour, in that place, at that time, so therefore you have found the secret to what life is really all about, to be someone that is sitting and dwelling with HaKadosh Baruch Hu everywhere that they go. And this is what we are asking for from the Ribbono Shel Olam this year on Rosh Hashanah. We are not asking that we should have a year that is filled with riches and glory. That's not what we're asking for. We're not asking for a year that is filled with health and all good things and good tidings. It's not what we're asking for at the end of the day. The Ikar, the main thing that we are asking for is Ribbono Shel Olam, whatever this year is going to bring. Whatever you have in store, we hope, of course, it's only the best, but whatever you have in store, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we want it to be that we are always sitting in your house and your sanctuary, and we're always living together with you. I'm not on my own, I'm not by myself, it's not my power, it's not my might, it's not my abilities, it's not my charisma, it's not my brains, my intellect, it's not my money, it's nothing. I'm living together with you, kol yemei chayai, all of the days of my life. And a person who commits themselves to live in such a way in this up and coming year, a person who wants not to be alone by themselves, but rather to be walking with the Ribbono Shel Olam every single place that they go, that is the person that will be zeicher, they will merit to bring upon themselves the schus of another year of life. Because when you understand what life is all about, and why HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us, and what He wants from us, so then Hashem says, you're exactly the kind of person that I want in this world. Because you are going to dwell with me everywhere that you go. The Malbim writes on these verses the following idea. There is one thing that I'm asking from Hashem. I'm not asking for many things based on all of the needs that I have in this world. Normally, everybody's life is always in flux. It's always moving. There's things that are taking place. And there's always new things that we need. As he writes over here, Refuah, some people they need health. Mizaynai, some people need parnasa, they need to make a living. Hatzalah me'oyev, sometimes they need to be saved and rescued from enemies. Ukadaimis, similar things. Says Dovid HaMelech, that's not what I'm asking for. I'm not asking for any of that. Rak shayla acha shalti ba'avar, there's only one thing I asked for in the past. And that I will continue to ask for. Tamid ba'asid, always in the future I'm going to ask for the same thing. Ki b'shayla zu, because in this one request that I have, klulim koil hashaylos, all of the other asks, all of the other requests are included in this one. If I could live shifti beveis Hashem kol yemei chayai, if I could be zoichet to dwell in the house of Hashem all the days of my life, hashayla shasha'alti oidoi shifti beveis Hashem, this question I'm asking, please Hashem, I'm requesting, let me dwell in your house, rak oisa vakesh, that's all that I care about. Shal yada, if I sit in the house of Hashem, agia lekol hatzrachim hapratim, I will merit to achieve all of the other things that I need in my life. How is that? If you sit in the house of Hashem, you get healthy. If you sit in the house of Hashem, you get money. If you sit in the house of Hashem, you get all that you need. How does that work? Everybody should go to kollel. Everybody should go to yeshiva. Everybody should sit in the base midrash all day long. Because if they do, says the Malbim, you get everything you want. That's what Dovid HaMelech was asking for. I don't need to ask for health and money and children and marriage. I don't have to ask for any of that. If I get into the house of Hashem all the days of my life, I get everything. What does that mean? I think that the pshat is that everybody knows in life, you're never going to get everything that you ask for. That's an impossibility. This Eve, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us a lot. But we all have bakashas, we all have requests, we all have supplications, we all have things that we're asking for and yearning for, and yet we see year after year after year after year, didn't go, didn't get it. I thought this is the year that I'm going to break through the gates of tefillah and Hashem is going to answer my prayers and give me what I'm asking for. This is the year that this is going to go right and that's going to go right, and yet we all know it doesn't work like that. Every year we go into Rosh Hashanah, we're hopeful, we believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's going to get better, and every year we look back at the year and we say, you know what, the same problems that I had last year, usually they're following me around this year. No, it's true. Certain things get solved. Certain siyatas shemayis that a person has, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings down the bracha unexpected, it's true. But b'derech klal, which means in general, whatever you're schlepping into Rosh Hashanah of this year, you're probably going to schlep it around the whole year. It doesn't go away. You know, it's like you go on vacation, you leave all your troubles behind in America. It's wonderful. You go off to some country, somewhere far away. It's amazing. You're there for 2 weeks. It's wow, it's incredible, it's beautiful, it's wonderful. You come back 2 weeks later, and all your troubles and all your problems are all waiting for you right there. And it's even worse. The mail piled up. Then you get all the bills in the mail. Then you find out that you come in. How come? I remember we were away years ago. We went to Eretz Yisrael. We came back to America. And we walk into the house and I see that there's things like that were knocked down in the house. I'm like, what's going on over here? And we realized while we were away, there's a little tiny window in our kitchen that was open. It's like, you have to be like an infant to be able to get through this window. Somebody climbed in through our window and they went through our house. Now, miraculously, they went to a drawer where there are valuables. They missed all the valuables, Baruch Hashem. But they damaged the house. So you go away, you're living in Eretz Yisrael, wow, amazing, Kaisel, Shechina, Kiva Rachel, amazing, the family, Shabbos, and everything is great. You come back, the first thing you're greeted by is, somebody broke into my house. So we all know that we have many things that took place this year, hoping it's going to be better in the up and coming year. We're hoping, we're praying, we're davening, please Hashem, make it better. But as soon as Yom Kippur is over, everybody knows they're still there. That person that's annoying you, that money that's not in the bank account, the sickness, it's not a mere miraculous like that. It takes time. Says the Malbim. But Dovid HaMelech was telling us such an important idea, and that is that even though you might not get everything that you're asking for, and even though that the troubles are going to continue to follow you along, we won't call them the trouble, we'll call them the challenges and the opportunities of life. They are going to follow you along. That's all true. But as long as I'm shifty beveis Hashem, I'm with you, Ribono Shel Olam, I will have the strength to be able to get through anything that you send me in life. Whatever it is that a person could ask for, I'm not asking for specifics. Because if I sit in the house of Hashem, and I'm together with you, communing with you, Rabbi Shalom, says the Malbim, all of my other requests are going to be met. Did Dovid HaMelech get everything? No, he doesn't get everything. Did he get this? No. So how can you say you got everything? Because since I'm with Hashem, and that's my perspective in the world, and I know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything he does is good and the best, and he doesn't make any mistakes, so then that gives me the koyach of emunah to be able to live kol yemei chayai, all the days of my life, with everything is exactly the way that it should. Yes?
It seems like what he's asking is something that's really up to us to do. It's all about the emunah, right?
Yes.
So why are we asking Hashem to give us the emunah? But isn't that something that we should, like for example, is Shifti Bebet Hashem, if I go to a test and I say Shema, is that Shifti Bebet Hashem? Is that considered part of it? Okay,
so the question is being asked over here that we're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu to let us dwell in the house of Hashem, but you're pointing out that really this that we are describing is a very deep level of emunah that's supposed to come from us. Correct?
Exactly.
Yeah, so we are asking at the same time then that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give us the strength, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give us the opportunities, and He should give us the wherewithal and the conviction to be able to work on this amunah, to be able to work on this faith and this internal avodah that we have to do. Hashem, we can't do it by ourselves. We all know that. We can try and try and try. But unless HaKadosh Baruch Hu is guiding us and strengthening us, we're not going to get it. Even in the emunah that we are trying to accomplish, we have to daven to Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, give me more emunah in you. Help me have greater trust in you. Allow me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to live my life. You're right. I'm the one that's got to sit there when I'm in my kitchen at 1 o'clock in the morning baking and think about Hashem. But Hashem, give me the presence of mind and the strength to be able to do that. So therefore, I'm able to ask Hashem for whatever it is that I need. That's the way that the Malbim writes over here. So Rav Gamliel Rabinovich, he writes similarly along this as well, very similar to the way that Rav Hirsch says, and he says like this. In this verse, Dovid is asking Hashem the following. He wants to be able to learn Torah all of the days of his life. Now, we have to understand. David HaMelech was the king. He was very busy with all of his kingly obligations. He's the monarch. He's running the country. He also had to judge the nation. All of the needs of Klal Yisrael were upon him. If that's the case, how could Dovid HaMelech even have the chutzpah to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, just forget about all my responsibilities, all the obligations, all the people that are waiting for me in the country that I'm supposed to run, just forget about it. I just want to sit in your house of study, and I want to learn Torah. How could he ask for such a thing? Says Rav Gamliel, perhaps this is the kavanah, the intention of Dovid HaMelech. Mevakesh me'es Hashem Yisbarach, he's asking Hashem. There's one thing I asked, I will continue to ask. I'm going to ask this all of the time. I want to sit in the house of Hashem. Every situation that comes upon me, in my lifetime, Argish, I want to feel that I'm actually sitting and dwelling in the house of Hashem. Whether I'm busy dealing with Klal Yisrael, whether it's times of war, I don't want to take my mind for a second off of the Ribbono Shel Olam. So this is the same idea that we are saying. Dovid HaMelech, he's not a chutzpah to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and saying, get me out of this position over here, just let me go back to Koila and be happy. No. I was chosen for this, I understand that. But I know that the only way that I can actually succeed in this world is if I'm close to you at all times. And there's a lot going on in my life right now, says Dovid HaMelech, a lot of things. And it's very easy to get pulled off of track. And my focus is getting lost, and I'm not going to be together with you. So I'm only asking you one thing. Let it be whether I'm running the country, dealing with the people, fighting the battles, going to the major leaders of the world, dishing out the money to those that are in need, whatever it is, let me always margish feel that I'm nimsa beveis Hashem, that I'm dwelling, I'm found in the house of Hashem. And then I know, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that I'm with you at all times. And I know that you are with me at all times. I'm not going to go through life by myself, because I can't succeed. I don't want to be involved in a situation where everything is up to me. I want to make sure that whatever I am going through in my life, it's all you, Ribbono Shel Olam, please. And therefore I'm asking you simply, purely from the depths of my heart, make it be that no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, I'm always living together with you. From here we learn, this is a person's obligation in his world, in the world. Again, we're coming to Hashem Rosh Hashanah. We have to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I understand what you want from me in this world, in my life, and give me another year of life so I can prove it to you. Whatever situation you are in, don't take your mind off of Hashem. A person will think for a moment to themselves, the most difficult moments of the previous year, that which left us with knots in our stomach, and anxiety, and worry, and fear, and sadness, and pain, and trauma, all the different things that a person could go through this past year. You were with Hashem during that time? Or you were without HaKadosh Baruch Hu during that time? You were living in the Beis Hashem at that moment that you got this particular news or whatever's going on in your life. It threw you off, and now you're like, oh, Yvei, what's going to be? Or you were living with Hashem, and then everything's going to be calm. The power of a person that lives with HaKadosh Baruch Hu means that no matter what is going on in my life, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I am biyachad, I'm together with you. And as long as I'm sitting in the house of Hashem, as long as I'm living with the Ribbono Shel Olam, as long as I know that Hashem is right here, b'kol matzav, any situation that I find myself in, so then I know I have nothing to worry about. I don't need knots in my stomach. I don't need pain in my heart and my chest. My mind doesn't have to be all over the place. Why? No. I'm with you, Hashem. And if I live my life like that, so no matter where I go, no matter what's going on in my life, I'm dwelling in the house of Hashem. We just had in the parsha last week, just yesterday, the klalos, the curses, the litany of curses that HaKadosh Baruch Hu threatens the Klal Yisrael when we don't follow along with what He wants us to do. And in the midst of those curses, the Torah points out why they have all befallen Klal Yisrael. And the pasuk says, "Tachas kashelo avadat es Hashem Elokecha b'simcha v'tuv levav," because you did not serve Hashem with happiness and gladness of heart. Very harsh thing to understand. You had to be in shul yesterday to try to understand a little bit more. That's what we spoke about in the drasha. But that being said, in the Holocaust, there was a Yid by the name of Gershon Liebman. Rav Gershon Liebman was one of the main disciples of the Alter of Nevarduk. Now the author of Navardik, of Yosef Horowitz, he was from the greatest Bali Bitachon of the generation. His Amunah and Bitachon in Hashem was such, no matter what was going on in his life, he never for a moment thought that he's by himself. He was living Beveis Hashem Kol Yemei Chayai all the days of his life. He was always with the Rebbeinu Shalom. Wherever he was, whatever was going on, wars are being fought, battles. During World War I, the altar of Navardik went around from town to town, from village to village, when the world was falling into destruction. And he said, what, are we going to let the yeshivas die out right now? And he built like 70 yeshivas during World War I. How did he do that? He came to towns where everybody was frightened and afraid, and he would convince parents, give me your son. He's got to be learning Torah. There's a war going on. Exactly, that's why he has to be learning Torah. And he built yeshiva with no money, with no rich balabatim to support him, nothing. He just believed, I'm shifty beveis Hashem, kol yemei chayai, all the days of my life. I'm dwelling with Hashem. I have nothing to worry about. Hashem is right here. I'm doing His will, because He's going to support me and take care of me. One of his main disciples was a Yid by the name of Gershon Liebman. And he was in Auschwitz. And while he was in Auschwitz, he was living with Hashem. Most people were broken. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of fright. And we have no judgment of a single person that went through those horrors at all. Nobody could ever imagine. But this Rav Gershon, who learned by the altar of Navardik, who saw what it means to live Beveis Hashem, to dwell in the house of Hashem all the days of your life, he was in Auschwitz and he was living with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he would walk around constantly in the camps, death all around him, crematoriums sending up their billows of smoke. And he would just keep repeating the following words. The reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought all of the destruction upon Klal Yisrael, all of the klalos, all the curse, because we didn't serve Hashem b'simcha. You're in Gehenna, you're in Auschwitz, you have death all around you, you lost your mother, your father, your children, your wife, you lost everything. You lost your Rebbe, you lost your yeshivas, there's nothing left. But he was living with Hashem. And instead of getting down and broken, he continued to tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I get it, I understand. Even here, I can live with you. And that is why, when the camps, when the war was over and the Allied forces came in, and the camps were redeemed, and the Nazis ran away, and the National Guard or the Red Cross and the Allied forces came in, and they were rescuing all the Jews. On that specific day that it was over, he asked one of the armies, one of the soldiers, can you please get me a Gemara? And they said, Rabbi, what are you talking about? He said, I didn't learn Gemara already in 3 or 4 years since the war has broken out. Just get me a Gemara. I need to open up a yeshiva. And the other Yidden that were around said, you're opening up a yeshiva where? He said, right here. Base Auschwitz. The yeshiva of Auschwitz. That's what they said, are you crazy? He said, no. I'm shifty beveis Hashem, kol yemei chayai. I'm living in the house of Hashem since the war broke out until right now. Before I couldn't learn, before I couldn't have Talmidim, before I couldn't get a Gemara, before I couldn't put on tefillin, before I couldn't keep kosher food. Now that it's over, the same house of Hashem that kept me going all this way is going to keep me going right now. And he began his yeshiva there, and eventually he moved off to France, and he rebuilt the Navardik yeshivas, something like 40 different institutions after the war. Because he was always living with Hashem. Says Rav Gamliel Rabinovich, Dovid HaMelech is saying to Hashem, and he's teaching us this lesson, the following. Never take your mind off of HaKadosh Baruch Hu for 1 second. Whether you're in the midst of working and making a living, or whether you're involved with other physical needs that you have, you should have in mind, everything that you do, L'kayim es rotzain habari, I want to fulfill the will of Hashem. That's what I'm here for. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's a new year coming. I know I didn't do everything exactly right this previous year. I know that. I know I got sidetracked. I know I got busy. I know I did this and I did that and I forgot about you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I wasted hours and hours and hours and hours of our time. One of my kids who likes to play on these little toys, so it keeps track of how many hours you've been on this thing. I'm too embarrassed to say how many hours it was, but he said, hey, mommy. He said, look, it's keeping track, and it has X amount of hours. My wife said, well, how do you feel about that? So that's a little kid. He doesn't understand how valuable and precious time is. And we give him his screen time so that he can tell all of his friends he had screen time because that's what everybody else is doing. Maybe except for the handworker kids, but everybody else, yes. But we're adults. We should appreciate the value of time. We should understand what every single minute, every single second, every hour, every day, what a person could accomplish. And therefore we have to be honest with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You know what, Hashem? I didn't learn this before this last year. So I didn't realize that every single second of my life I could be living with you, Hashem. I didn't realize that when I'm in the store, when I'm in the doctor's office, when I'm driving in the car, when I'm teaching in the classroom, when I'm working in the office, I didn't realize that I could be with you, Hashem. I just didn't realize that. I didn't know. Now I know. Now that I know HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I want to make it my mission for the up and coming year. Shifti beveis Hashem kol yemei chaya. I want to dwell with you everywhere that I go. Whatever I'm doing, and in that way I'm connecting, and then I have nothing to worry about. I have nothing to fear. I can be calm and relaxed. Shifti is also a sheves. Relax, Shabbos, relax, peaceful. I can be peaceful when I'm dwelling in the house of Hashem. Because if I'm with you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I'm not by myself, and I know that you're always taking care of me, and you're always making the right decisions, and everything you do is always good, so I don't have to worry about. Why get stressed out? Why get so sad? Why have the knots and the butterflies and the... Why? It's you, Rabbi Shalom, you're running the world. And he concludes over here with the words of the Chayvus Alavavais, the duties of the heart. Every action that a person does, whether in their thoughts, in their speech, in their words, or maisa, their actions, either what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're saying, what you're doing is either a mitzvah, or it's an avera. Now we don't think about the world like this. We just think there's a lot of gray area. Because I didn't do anything wrong. I mean, come on, I just didn't do anything wrong. I just wasted the last 3 hours of my life. I didn't do anything wrong. Everything that a person does, says the Chayvus Alavavais, either is a mitzvah or an avera. Ulakach, and therefore, b'chol puloisav, in everything that you do, tzarech shemikach to'elis ba'avodas Hashem. You have to see that there's a benefit in the service of Hashem. V'im lav, and if not, harizeh beged aver, then it's considered to be an aver in the eyes of Hashem. It's a tall order. Okay, don't get scared and frightened over here. But he's saying something that is remarkable. I think they asked once with Shlomo Zalman Auerbach Zatzal, they asked him that there's a concept and an idea that, like we're saying over here, I want to do mitzvahs, and there's a concept over there of doing averas, but then there's like reshus, there's just like, you could do what you want. So they asked him once, what is this particular action? What can you give us an example of a reshus, of something that, like, it's not a mitzvah, it's not an avera, just what you want to do, can you give us an example of that? And he said, is there such a thing? There's always the Rabbi Shalom. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always here. And that means every little thing that we can do that brings us closer to Hashem, it becomes a mitzvah. Did you know that? Every little thing that we do becomes a part of our avodas Hashem, becomes a mitzvah in the eyes of the Rebbeinu Shalom. That means strengthening your emunah a little bit, it's a mitzvah. Not worrying, it's a mitzvah. Being out in your car and thinking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's a mitzvah. There's certain mitzvahs, there's 6 constant mitzvahs that a person has. One of them is to believe in Hashem. And if you just think that idea, you got yourself a mitzvah. So you could be in the car, and you could turn on the news, and you could hear all the horrific news of the world around us, and then you can start to go into panic mode and start getting worried and say, oh, Gewalt, what's going to be with this world? It's so terrible. I don't remember being so bad. Or you can be in the car and you think about Hashem. And if you think for 1 second about Hashem, you just got a mitzvah. So, and I'm cooking, and I'm cleaning, and I'm washing laundry. If I have the right intention, everything becomes a mitzvah in my life. Says Dovid HaMelech, the purpose of life is shifti beveis Hashem kol yemei chayei, to dwell in the house of Hashem all the days of my life. And as we stand before HaKadosh Baruch Hu during these yomim neroim, these awesome days that Hashem gives us as a gift, He gives us a gift to prove to Him who we really are. The whole year, it's like you have a person who's like a schlubby kind of a guy, and he's going to get married. So he's not going to show up to his HASHANAH looking like a schlump. I don't think so anyway. He is going to go, his wife for sure not going to let him do such a thing. So his parents are going to take him to the suit store, and they're going to fit, maybe his body's a little bit awkward, whatever, they're going to fit the suit so that it looks really, really nice. And his hair is a little bit wild, he's going to get a nice haircut. And he's going to take a good shave. And he's going to get some good smelling deodorant over there so he smells really nice on the day of his HASHANAH. And his shoes will be polished. And he's got a hat that fits in the right way. And he's going to go down to the chuppah, he's going to look like $1 million. Because that's the real him. He's not the schlubby guy. He just didn't take care of himself. Now he has a wife that he has to go meet. Now he has That's who he is. On the Yomim Neroyim, a person is who they really are. The whole year we're schlubby. The whole year we're schlepping around this world. We're schlumpy people. We don't do enough in the mitzvahs. We don't do enough in the davening. We don't do enough in the Yir Shemaim. We don't do enough. On Rosh Hashanah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us a schus. I'll give you 2 days. Show me who you are. And after all of that, keep showing me. And on Yom Kippur, when you finally feel bad that you did things wrong this year and you do tshuva again and again and again, you're getting to the core of the neshama, who we really are. That's the greatest thing a person can do. And then you understand. Shifti beveis Hashem kol yemei chayai. I'll give you a year to dwell in my house, says Hashem. Another year of opportunity, another year to get close to Hashem, another year to make ourselves better and grow in avodas Hashem, in the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the like. And in Yitz Hashem, if we stay focused during this time leading up to Rosh Hashanah, and we appreciate the davening and the hours that we are in shul and the beautiful seudas with singing and divrei Torah on Rosh Hashanah, and we take it into the Yisrael Simei Tshuva, into Yom Kippur, and we scream out at the end of Ne'ilah Hashem Hu Elokim, that we want to live with Hashem the whole year. And that's zechus Bez Hashem. We should all be zeicha, us and our families and all of Klal Yisrael, to that ksiva v'chasim ha'toiva, to that year where will be written and sealed in the book of life, of good life, of sweet life, of a year of life. That will be us living kol yemei chayai, all the days of our life, beveis Hashem, in the house of Hashem.
Thank you.